Welcome back, everybody. So a little different style of video today. I've actually opened up right here instead of Illustrator rather than doing any kind of intro. We're just going to hop right into it. Now this one isn't kind of my normal. This is going to be a little bit longer. I'm also probably not going to do much editing on this video because I just want to do free form, show you my process of kind of vectorizing a logo and going through different iterations. So this might be a long one. I don't really know at this point. If it's too long for you, I apologize for that. Maybe I'll share it as a, what do you call it? I can't even think of the word right now. Damn it. Let's hop over into my actual channel, because I know I've got other ones on here. Let's go your channel, videos, right back to the start. Speed art, time lapse, whatever you want to call it. There we go. Okay, so let's just hop right in. Mike Pickett, I'm a graphic designer, been in the industry for 20 plus years. I don't design for clients anymore. I've kind of given up on that, so I just mostly do it for fun and to show you guys and hopefully help you pick up something out of what I'm doing. So let's go up here to File and go to Place. Place allows you to actually put an image into your desktop or into your document, and then you can go ahead and use trace options on it. You can kind of use all your tools over top of it. So we're going to go to Photos. I'm going to grab this image I took. Actually, I think this is a little better one. And I'm just going to go up here. Now, if you notice, you can actually intersect this corner, or you can use the page as your border. And if I actually hold this down, if I click, it's just going to place the full image, and I don't want the full image. But if I actually go up here, click and drag, I can drag it out so that it's the same size as my artboard, roughly the size that I want. Now I'm going to blow this up just a little more. And we're going to make this one right here. I was going to go with this shape, but I've kind of got an idea on this one. And I'm going to get rid of a couple of the little angles on here. I like the idea of having this shape and then the arrow on the inside, and we'll do some kind of a gradient fill inside of it with maybe a shadow or something. We'll see how it turns out. Now to start with, when I'm doing kind of tracing like this, I'm going to go over to my layers palette and I'm going to double click on the layer. You can name this so original or image or photo or something like that. And I'm going to click on this template option. What that's going to do is it's actually going to lock the layer for me, and it's going to dim it down to whatever percentage I put in here. 50 is good. I go down to about 30 with these, sometimes 25. We're going to hit OK. And you can see it just kind of washes things out for me, so now I can actually work over top of it. Now, I'm thinking this is going to be a little more squared corners with kind of a bubble shape. So I'm going to go over here and we're going to grab my shape tool, and I'm actually going to start on a new layer. I'm just going to draw a square out here. So I'm going to hold down Shift. I got the rough size down. It should be about right. Now I'm going to change my colors. So I'm going to just hit this little icon down here and get rid of the fill. And we're going to pump up the weight on the stroke. Now there's two different places you can do your strokes, of course. You can do them right up here in this toolbar. And if you don't see this toolbar at all, you can go to Window and go to this Control and see how that disappears. I'm going to turn it back on again. That gives me all of my different controls here. If you're missing that, that's how to get there. This you can do with your stroke. You can also use the little stroke palette over here. I normally come to this because it just gives me more options, right? I've got like my cap in my corner and my aligned stroke to the outside, inside, however I want to do it. I can do dashed lines here and then also my weight. So let's just put that up. I'm going to say about 15. Should be good. We might have to knock that down a little more after, but we'll start with that. Now there's a few different ways that I can go about doing this, and I know that there's always a dozen ways to do things inside of Illustrator, but what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna add some anchor points. So I'm gonna add one there, we're gonna add one here, here, and here. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select all of those. So I'm holding down Shift, and everything I'm doing right now is with the little white arrow, so it's my direct selection tool. And I've just got those 4 anchors selected. Next, I'm going to come up here to the top, and I'm actually going to convert them over to a smooth path. And what that's going to do is it's going to give me little anchors that I could select, right? So if we go here now, you can see that I've got kind of those 4 or those the handles out there. And the reason I've done this is because I want to expand these out. So I'm actually going to take that one and I'm just going to go shift and then my up arrow 3 times. I'm going to do the same thing down here, down. I'm going to grab this one and go out, and this one and out. That's pretty close. It's a little jagged or a little bit of a sharp corner for me. So a little trick that I'm going to do here is we're actually going to do just a rectangle. Do it to right about there. And again, I'm just eyeballing a lot of this. And then what I want to do is just align it to there, because now I can use that rectangle as a guide to pull these out. Okay, so I'm gonna hit S on my keyboard to get my scale tool, and that's gonna put the sort of the center point on that anchor point. I'm gonna click to make sure that's where it is, and then I'm just gonna hold shift down. I'm gonna drag that handle up until I get that path. And you'll see that what that's done is now both of these anchor points, so it's scaled that out. And this is a nice curve now. So I'm gonna do the same thing on my opposite side. So again, hit A on my keyboard, got that one, S to get the scale tool, click on the anchor, grab that handle, and just scale up. Perfect. Okay, so now to get the same thing on my other anchor points, I'm just going to rotate that 90 degrees. So I constrained the rotate on that by holding down shift while turning. And again, we're going to go A, I'm going to grab this, S for scale, click, just drag those handles out, back to my A tool, S for scale, click, drag those handles out. All right, now I'm going to hit V, get my selection tool, hit that, and just delete it. So that's good, I like that. Now we might have to play with this a little bit more. I see that during my sketch here I kind of had more of a rounded side on this one where this was curved. That might end up looking good, but we'll just have to kind of wait and see. So for now what I want to do is actually kind of start getting this shape down here. So I'm actually going to use a rounded rectangle for that. And I'm going to come in and we're just going to start drawing it. Once I've got to the point where I want it, I'm gonna hold down shift and hit I'm just gonna hit the up arrow all the way. And if you see, so now with my up arrow, what that's done is it's given me just kind of this full oval, sort of an oblong oval, I guess you could say. And I'm gonna line that up. Now, if I really wanted to get picky at this point, which I don't quite yet, but I could come up here and we can actually come down and we can go to, come down here and go to outline. And with outline, I can then zoom in and just make sure that those two are exactly where I want them, and it looks like they are. So I think we're good to go. So I'm gonna go back and we're gonna go GPU preview again. I'm just gonna zoom out a little bit. So that's about where I want it. So from now, let's just option, hold down shift, and I'm gonna drag a copy of that down. I don't know where I need it exactly. I'm going to say right about there. I think I went a little bit too far. Let's go back to our outline view. We can see here that, yeah, I went just a bit too far. So let's just grab that again. Say right about there. So now to make sure that everything's centered, I'm just going to zoom back out a little bit. And I'm going to grab both of these. I'm just going to shift G, which is going to group them together real quick, and then I'm going to shift click on my outer shape. So now these two oval shapes are a group and this outer shape is by itself. But because I've got them all selected, I can actually click on this outer shape and you get that thicker line on it. That tells me that that's now my key object, and I'm going to align everything that I do from now on right now to that shape. So if I come up here and we're going to click on this center align vertical, and what that's done is just made sure that these two shapes grouped together are completely centered with this. So the space in here is equal. Hope that makes sense. So now a little bit of cleanup here. I'm actually just going to grab this anchor and I'm using A on my keyboard and just holding down shift. Oh, looks like that one's got two, so we're going to grab both of those. So I'm going to zoom in here just to show you what I'm talking about with this. So when I clicked on this one to grab it, there was still, if you see how I get that single anchor, now if I delete that, it's still going to leave an anchor point there, and I don't want that. I actually want both of them gone. Because what I'm trying to do here is trying to get just this straight line, so I'm leaving this anchor point in place. But I noticed, let me see if I can show it. Let's just single grab right there. Okay, you see how I grabbed it, but it still looks like a white anchor point, or it looks like a white, anchor point. It's the best word I can use. So the little square is just still white. It's not red filled in. Whereas when I click on this one, you see it's actually red filled in. So this tells me that there's actually 2 anchor points here. So I'm just going to drag a bounding box around that so I get both of them, and then I'm going to shift click on these ones. They both go red, and if I hit delete here, that should leave that shape, right? So we're all lined up here now. That's kind of giving me that lead in for this. So we're going to do the same thing down here, highlight, shift click, delete. All right, now if you notice we're a little off on our alignment here. So what I'm going to do now is we're just going to grab that, and that's just from doing some deletion of anchor points. I'm just going to hold down shift so I constrain it on that vertical path, and we should be good now. If I check both of those, they should be all lined up. Yeah, we're good. All right, enough working in this outline. Let's view GPU again. Okay, it's looking pretty good, not bad. I can kind of see where this is going. All right, now we're gonna worry about this. Now, there's a couple of different ways I can go with this. I don't quite yet know which way I wanna go with it, so let's build our arrow. And I'm actually gonna do this a little different. So I'm gonna build a square about the size that I think it needs to be, and then we're just gonna rotate it 45 degrees and drop it down in here. Okay. I'd leave on the smart guides pretty much all the time. Other than when I maybe need to sort of do some fine tuning on a logo, I'll turn those off and then fine tune everything and deal with what I have to deal with at that point. But most of the time, I've got them turned on. So I'm liking this. I think I need to go just a little bit smaller. Because what I want to do is actually have this arrow, instead of filling them in, I'm looking at this now and I'm not really liking this blocky look. I think it's just too much. I think this is a much cleaner look, but I still want, I think, some of the arrow, I don't know what you'd even call them, the sides, I guess, but I don't want this full like this, right? So I'm thinking we can just trim it here, but we'll have to play around a little bit. That's good. Let's just make sure we're all lined up here. Again, I'm just clicking on both of these. So click on this one, shift click on this one, and then single click without holding anything else down on this one. And that way we get that outside line. And then I can come up here to my align tool. There we go. Okay, just making sure everything's all centered. So let's try this out and see how it looks. So I'm actually going to grab all of this, and I'm going to go Shift M to get my shape builder tool. And now with the shape builder tool, the nice thing about this, I can get rid of just portions of this line, right? So if I hold down Alt or Option, I can come in here and just highlight that line there. And you see how it's a little thicker, but only to the point where it meets with these lines. So I'm getting rid of just that. Not bad. It's not really the look that I was going for, though. There's something there. That's all I can say, is there is something there with this logo. Whether or not this is where it's going to go is another story. But let's, you know what, before we go any further, let's do one thing here. Let's just zoom out a little bit, and I'm going to highlight all of it, and we're just going to drag a copy. So I'm just Alt and dragging a copy off to the side of the artboard. All right, so let's do that again. Select all of it, Shift M gets our shape builder tool, and I'm actually going to get rid of this one, and I'm going to get rid of this one. Now, you'll see here we've got a little bit of an issue, right? Because we got some gaps now. And the reason that is because we've separated everything out, right? So this was its own shape on the outside. This were their own lines as well, or their own shapes as well. But what we can do here is we can actually just come in, highlight those, and then come up here, and we're just going to hit this connect. And if you notice there, we got a bit of an issue too. So I know that those dots before weren't quite lined up. So instead, we're gonna highlight both of them, and I'm gonna come up here and I'm just gonna go align center and align center. We hit join again, and you see it cleared everything up for us. So we'll probably have the same issue down here. So if I just hit Command J on my keyboard, okay, that joins them again. So there's actually gonna end up being 2 anchor points there if we zoom in really close. Okay, you can just start to see it now. If I just A on my keyboard and I can drag one away, that's why we're getting that little jagged point there. Okay, that's where this is coming from. So again, I'm gonna back up. I'm gonna highlight both of those and just align center, and then Command J again, and everything's good. Now, the only thing that you're gonna wanna pay attention to here is, again, you've probably still got 2 anchor points there. And if we subtract 1, okay, and we're gonna go there and subtract 1, and we get this issue. So this can take a little bit of work to clean everything up. Now I'm just gonna check everything again because we should be aligned. I shouldn't be having that issue. So instead, what I'm gonna do, let's highlight both of those again. Let's align and align. And I'm gonna shift click to remove one of them. That's not the one I want. That's not gonna work either. All right, let's do this. Let's do that one. And I'm just gonna move that one out a little. Remove that one. No, it's just not working. Okay, what else can I come up with here to fix this then? We have 3 there maybe. That's just 1. Ah, there we go. Okay, so that's the issue then. We actually have 3 anchor points there because there's 2 of them on here. So let's grab this. I wonder if we can just, so what I did there, I actually grabbed this anchor, so this path, and then I did Command 2 to lock it. Because now what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna come in here and delete one of these. Okay, so there we go. Now we got this good curve. We got rid of the extra one there. I'm going to Shift or Alt Command 2 to unlock that. Now if we highlight this, do those paths, hit that, now we're good. Okay, so let's do the same thing down here. So I'm going to click on this path, Command 2 to lock it. I'm going to click here, and then we're going to remove that anchor. Okay, now that's the wrong one, so I need to get this anchor. No, it's still it. Let's go here. And then try it. There we go. So if you see, there's these finicky little things inside of Illustrator. I mean, they bug the shit out of me all the time. But so up at the top one, I was just able to click, right, highlight, shift click, and remove the correct anchor from being selected so I could delete it. But the bottom one, I had to play around with it. So let me just show you that again. Let's back up here. Okay, so this, I'm going to Command 2 to lock it. That way I can't select this path anymore. Now, when I click here, and if I shift click on this, okay, it gets rid of the anchor point that I don't want. So it deselects the anchor point that I don't want. And I think it's a layering issue inside of the way that Illustrator kind of builds its vectors. But Shift Command 2 to unlock that bottom one again so we can move on, highlight those, align center, join. Now, the nice thing about doing it this way as well is that we end up with our little Adobe Illustrator corner, whatever you want to call it. I've heard it called an app, right? But whatever it is, we get these little corner things so we can adjust the corner. So what I can do now is I can actually drag this out and we get a nice smooth transition there instead of, right? If you see here, it's kind of got that jagged stop. So again, highlight that one. I'm just going to drag it all the way. And that gives me a nice clean corner. So we zoom back out here. Now we're building something really cool, okay? Now, there's a few different ways we could take this. I mean, we could take these, highlight those ones, and we could extend this. We could even add shadowing to that, right? So it kind of looks like this is going inside of there, a portal, a pathway, something along those lines. I mean, I don't even know what letter this is starting to look like. But you get my drift. You get it, right? There's possibilities at this point. Let's back that up and continue on with kind of what we were doing, the direction we were going. Now, what I'm not digging here is the square at this point. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab this, and I'm gonna use my direct selection tool and grab these 2 anchor points, and I'm gonna shift everything forward. Now, I don't know how much forward I need to go. Let's try right about there. I think we're getting a little too big up in here now. So let's extend this. Let's drop these down about 20 pixels. And we're gonna grab the whole thing and drag it back. Not bad, but again, I mean, I think we're just a little bit too jagged on a bunch of things here. Let's try making this bigger. We can maybe pull those back out. Let's try aligning everything here. So I'm gonna go hit my A key, and then I'm gonna shift click on these. Now, because these were the last points that I selected, I should be able to come up here and actually go align left, and the first anchor points that I had selected would then move back, right? So that's exactly what we wanted. Now let's just narrow this down a bit more, a bit more. That's not bad. And then what I'll have to do is pull these back so they kind of match up there. All right. That's looking good. So, I mean, I think that's kind of where we want to be. We could open this gap up a little bit. And the only reason I'm thinking that, we'd have to rework it, but no, it's not bad. It's actually still legible. So always check your work. Zoom out, look at things from different angles. I even heard one day about printing it out, looking at everything upside down when you're doing like typography and stuff. So if you're doing like custom script fonts and everything, you're doing like a custom name for a client, print it out, look at it upside down, make sure that you're seeing any kind of angle issues or anything that might sort of pop up in print or anything else. Now, there's one other thing we kind of talked about. That's just seeing. So let's drag a copy of that off again. I'm just going to put that one right up there. Let's select this shape, and I'm going to select these 2 corners just so I can get this corner widget. That's the word. And I'm going to drag both of them in. Not bad. I mean, I could see a case use for this. If we were to take that, let's go transform, so right click, transform, reflect, and we're not going to copy it, I'm just going to go there. I mean, there you could write like backwards. See what I've got installed for fonts today. Babus, Arial Black, something pretty simple. Cubano. Not bad, a little too soft, I think. Something with a little more strength to it, a little more backbone. What else can I find here? Impact, no. I don't keep a lot of fonts installed anymore. I kind of prefer not to have them installed and then go looking for them, so that's why you're not seeing a ton. I mean, there's still quite a bit here, but no. Let's do Rockwell. Well, maybe we got like a black font on this one. Bold. Good enough. That's kind of cool. Again, I mean, it's iteration, right? It's getting in, it's playing with things, even though the initial style of the font that I drew, and this is also why I keep my sketchbooks. You just never know what you're gonna find by going back through sketchbooks, right? There's all kinds of stuff. I've got sketchbooks full of just little drawings. This isn't even a big sketchbook either. This is like field note size. So I mean, it's you know, just they're small sketches, but they can work for what you're looking to do. All right, let's actually, let's just work with this. I'm gonna get rid of this backwards. Let's get rid of my, where am I going here? Here we go. Let's get rid of that layer. Hide that one. let's get everything all joined up here so that we're good to go. Now, of course, you can get into guides and making sure that everything is all laid out exactly the way that you need it to be. That's something for, I think, a different day. I don't want to get that in depth on this one. This was more about taking it from sketch to logo, sketch to icon, I guess you can say, more than anything else, sketch to the logo mark. So that you can kind of see my process and how I iterate things. Now, again, I've still got these that I could go back on, right? So here's our initial shape. So if I wanted to, I could actually come in and, drag this one off to the side and then highlight this again and pull another copy of it back onto my artboard and work on it again. I would probably say that I would be better off working on this one because we got all that stuff figured out about those little anchor points and everything, but you get the meaning, you get the point, is that I've got options here. So I'm working off of copies instead of going all the way to the completion and then having to either Command Z back or get to the end, not like something, and now I have to go and start from scratch again. And especially with merchant feedback or with client feedback. You're gonna get clients that come in all the time. They're like, you know what? We like, say, everything about it, but we just don't like the way that this joins up. Can we maybe try and soften up everything in here? Well, if all you've got left is an outlined version of this logo, you now have to go back and start from scratch again. So make sure you're working off of iterations. And I know you're gonna hear this throughout everywhere. It's funny because, Aaron Draplin, I mean, if you follow any of his courses before, that's his biggest sort of takeaway when it comes to working on things. And he'll have artboards that, have 300-400 iterations on it, where he goes through and actually works on different styles. So he's not wrong, of course. And I think a lot of us graphic designers and logo designers actually use it. So, all right, let's leave it there. We'll come back to this process again, and we'll talk about like grids and everything like that at a future version of this video. But for now, I think we're just gonna call it. And if you learned anything, let me know what you picked up down in the comments section. Would love for you to stick around. Maybe we'll do one of these live someday and we can just kind of sit here and chat and shoot the shit while I'm doing a logo design. Again, I'm not looking to do this professionally again. I just really enjoy the process. I like making things. I still like sketching. So if you're looking to learn from somebody that you think is in the industry and has to be in the industry and still working with clients in order to learn anything, that's fine. But I just feel like I still have a lot to teach. And I'm still learning myself because I'm still in the process of sketching and following other logo designers. And I just want to share the stuff that I'm picking up with you guys. So hope you enjoyed. Hit a like if you're still here. If you're not subscribed, subscribe to the channel. All that BS that we're supposed to say as YouTubers, which I'm so sick of saying. I don't think I'm ever going to say them again. Thank you for watching. I'll probably throw another version of this up. We'll see what I can do inside of InDesign as a time lapse. Throw it up on Insta as a story. I guess we'll see. All right, appreciate it. I'm rambling. Bye.